John Wells with Qprojects in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and today I'm going to be renovating this bike stroller carriage into a fun parade item for Dia de los Muertos coming up this weekend. So what's going to be inspiring us today is the Dia de los Muertos image. It's traditionally a skull with colorful ornamentation on it. This is a bike stroller. You can get them pretty cheap at the consignment stores, the mother stores, or on Craigslist or your other free sites like that. They'll run you about 50 bucks. This one was pretty beat up, which is exactly what I was looking for. And most of them are about the same. They'll have a solid plastic bottom and then a fabric top that you'll remove later. The first thing you're going to do on this particular model is release the elastic hooks. And after you get those free, there are two fiberglass poles that just slide out of the pockets, and they slide out of the top too. And that's the canopy. Most are variations of that. Next thing you'll do is remove all the hardware, and just make sure when you're disassembling this, as you would with any other project, take note of how you're going to reassemble it. So these just unhook with some force there and slide out. So the Dia de los Muertos celebration actually started as an Aztec tradition, and it goes back as much as 3,000 years. And originally, the Aztecs would celebrate it to remember the dead, to honor their, not just their memories, but their existing spirits. And as the conquistadors, the Spanish conquistadors came through Mexico, they were on a mission to convert the natives, and in doing so, there was much conflict. The Spanish conquistadors realized they really needed to figure out a way to respect the existing traditions and fold that over into their belief systems. So what they ended up doing was encouraging the natives to combine their traditional Dia de los Muertos celebration with the existing Spanish Catholic tradition of All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day. So originally the celebration took place in August, and the conquistadors persuaded them to move it to where it is now, November 2nd. A lot of times they would use the actual skulls of the dearly departed in the rituals, and I'm sure that's how the symbolism of the skull evolved to represent the Day of the Dead. All right, we just removed the last wheel. That leaves us with a nice, fairly simple plastic base. Now for the fun part. Technology's come a long way, and that gives us plastic paint, one of my favorite project items. You can get this at any of your local hardware stores these days, or your local giant merchandise stores. I find they're a little bit cheaper than the hardware stores if you can find them. This one's a secondary brand, and the cool part about plastic paint is you're going to pay a little bit more per can, but you don't need a primer. It's designed to adhere right to the plastic, so that's saving a whole can at least there. Down here's the part that's going to be seen because it's not covered by fabric, so I'm going to try to get that first. And you'll find with the spray paints, they dry really fast, so you can apply that second coat right away. I put a quick first coat on. I didn't bother with the interior because I actually plan to line that with something soft and cushy for my boys to sit in. So we put on our second coat. So we're going to let that dry overnight. We're going to put our can away and go get some fresh air. Good morning. Okay, we've let the plastic paint set up and cure. We've got a nice white base to our stroller, and I've reattached all the hardware. So I've just got a fleecy blanket here I'm going to lay in as a nice little soft base. Then I've got a nice black fleece blanket that I'm going to lay in over that because I want the skull to have a nice deep color on the inside. And we're just going to slide this through some existing holes here, just to give it a little anchor. All right, now we're going to add the fabric back on, which will become our base for the skull. Now we're going to anchor our fabric on just like we had it before. So I plan to wrap it around this way, and it's going to expose a little bit of the fabric at the bottom, and I figure I'm just going to work with that and use it to simulate the teeth of the skull. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shoot this with some spray paint just to get it the same color. What I'm using is just a soft fleece. The nice part about fleece is that it stretches in several different directions, so I'll be able to shape it around here a little bit better than something like a cotton sheet. Okay, so what we're going to do, again, it's a no-sew project. We're going to just fit it to the stroller as best we can. And what we're going to end up doing is pulling it taut and clipping it to the plastic part of the stroller to get its shape with some bulldog clips. But for now, what we want to do is get it in place so we can draw in our skull eyes. There's 3 pieces we need to draw in. We need to draw the eyes, and what I'm thinking is I'm going to cross over this bar so that you can see it from the front as well as the side. And I'm kind of tracing the existing pattern of the cutout so I can work with the existing fabric that's there, so I'm not exposing an opaque surface that's there. Yeah, buddy. Look what Mom drew. Whoa, big alien eye. Look at that. Is that cool? Yeah. It's hard to see. Big alien eye. Yeah, don't touch it. It's wet.
I can see.
Okay.
I can see.
Yeah. And now I'm going to draw in the nose, which usually looks like an upside down heart.
Okay.
Some implication of the skull there. Okay. Now we can take it off and cut these pieces out. This is going to be a cool stroller.
Yeah.
Yeah. So although skulls have been associated with Dia de los Muertos from the very beginning, the comical skulls in dress actually evolved from an artist, Jose Guadalupe Posada, who did an etching back in 1913 of a woman's skull dressed in an upper middle class outfit with a large floral hat. And it's become the iconic image of Dia de los Muertos, a woman in dress, and it's evolved to other artists interpreting it in other outfits. Like you might draw for your doctor friend a skull and bones in a doctor's outfit, or on a motorcycle. It's come to represent the people that have passed and the things that they love. The advantage and disadvantage of the fleece is that it is stretchy, so what we'll need to do is we'll need to go ahead and put the eye inserts while it's laying flat. So I'm going to lay that out, and I'm going to add my eye fabric before I reassemble it. So you can use a mesh or some sort of sheer fabric. I recommend something with a lot of contrast to the white. It doesn't necessarily have to be black. What I found was some old tint material that we were going to put in the car and never did. But you can buy the same vinyl at the fabric store. We're going to lay that in right there. What we're going to do is we're going to outline it in glue. You want something bendable that's going to adhere to vinyl. So I recommend like E3000 or one of your standard multi-purpose cementitious craft glues that have a rubbery quality. So all we're going to do is outline the eye. We're going to lay our vinyl down, press it, and then cut out the remainder. I've laid out the vinyl. I've cut around the shapes, glued them down using a fabric glue, fabric-friendly glue. And I think we're set up now. We're getting good adhesion. So I'm going to flip it over and put it on the stroller. Ah, it's looking great. Get the leaves and branches off there. Center up the nose. looking spooktacular. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bulldog clips. Those you can get at a office supply store or any general merchandise store. They're going to look something like this. And they flip open, and you get really great good seals with those. So you can either attach directly to the fabric or the metal bars if you get the really big bulldog clips. Want it a little bit taut? Alright, that's a good basic start to the skull. We can keep tightening this and pulling it to shape it. But the next step for me, once I get that attached, is I'll probably just draw in some marker-shaped teeth here, just to define the teeth a little bit more, since that little zone is a little bit ambiguous. And I'd also like to decorate it with some flower accents that I've been making from tissue paper. And the flowers go back to the original celebrations, where the people would take the skulls and decorate the eye sockets with marigolds, traditional flower found in Mexico, like that, inside the eye. And I think it was just a symbol of life, putting something, the life in someone's eyes. So the flowers really become an integral part of the celebration. I found all the basic supplies at your local dollar store. And what you're looking for is a multi-pack color of tissue paper. These were $1 a pack. I got some floral wire, which was also at the dollar store in their decorator section, and some wire cutters for a total of $3 of supplies here. And you want to cut your wire into 6-inch segments. It's a lot easier if you do all the cutting ahead of time, so you're not doing what I'm doing, kind of juggling everything. Right. Then you're going to take your sheets and lay them out in sections of 5 or 6 sheets, flat like that. And you're going to cut them into fourths. So you're going to cut one down the middle here. That. What you want to do now is accordion gather it all the way across in little tiny accordion pleats. If you do too many, if you try to fold it in half, it'll be really hard to unravel. So we're doing a really narrow accordion pleat, tightening that down, and then we're going to take our wire and we're going to wrap it. I like to wrap it twice because it makes it easier to handle. And we're going to twist it and then open the wire up, and that'll give you something to attach to the stroller. So now we're going to pull our petals apart. What you want to do is I like to push it where the gathers are, and that gives it a little curl, and it gives it a much more petal look rather than just a flat paper look. You can make them go all the same direction or opposite directions, alternating directions. And that reminds me a lot of the fiesta dresses that I'm used to growing up with. I think these are just beautiful and cheap, and you can put them everywhere. I'm going to attach a few right to the handle just by twisting the wire on. And I'm also just probably going to poke a few through the fabric just to give the face a little accent.
Continue attaching paper flowers until all mechanical surfaces are covered. Attaching some to the wheels is a great way to create some festive motion, but be sure not to interfere with the function of the stroller, including braking. My boys delighted in retreating in the stroller throughout the parade, and we received many compliments. Most of all, we enjoyed being a part of the scenery and sharing this most alive feeling with our spiritual ancestors. I very much enjoyed sharing the making of my Skull Stroller. Thanks for coming along for the ride. I hope I've inspired you to consider your own stroller conversion or just piqued your interest in the Dia de los Muertos celebration. This is Sean Wells with Qprojects in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Hasta luego!